Let's get it.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Walk to Wealth podcast. I got a very special guest with me, my boy Marcus Barbier. Marcus, for anyone who may not know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, man. I am a fourth year student in at Southern Connecticut State University, and it's my last year trying to get it done.
Okay?
Um, I'm currently working with my grandfather. He owns a moving company, and I just been working with him through the summer. That's what I do as like a little summer gig.
Okay.
Get a little cash flow there, and like a hobby thing. I work on my car for my free time. I do a lot of car stuff. I have a YouTube channel. Shout that out. I
Yeah.
have a car
That's
page on IG that
yeah.
I try to try to build that up a little bit. But yeah, it's just a little bit about me right now.
Yeah, that's what's up, bro. A lot of people don't know me and Marcus go way back, like
Yes,
years now.
yes,
We go way back.
way
And a
back.
lot of people actually don't know that Marcus is supposed to be my co-host back way back. We had this idea to start this podcast probably back in like August of last year.
Last
Um,
year, yeah, during the
like maybe like
pandemic.
August, July-ish, and then we started talking about doing a podcast together. I forgot who brought it up at
Yeah,
first, and
yeah.
then you had school. I
I
was
think it was
already out.
me. I think it
I think
was
it
me
was
who
you.
brought it up because we used to always call each other on the phone. Like
Yeah,
it would be like every other day we would just be on the phone talking about life, things, or what we want to do, what our goals are, what we want, like things like that. And I was just like, these conversations are like informal. Like we could like start
that
a podcast or something. Yeah.
starts time going. Yeah,
So,
and then
but yeah,
you ended up going to college. I was at that point. I was already fed up with school, so I was like, I'm
yeah,
out. I'm getting into
yeah.
real estate, and so like our
Hmm.
schedules didn't end up matching up. But we got you back on, so that's all that matters, right? We got the boy
Yeah,
back on.
we back on, man.
So Marcus, tell us a little bit about your walk to wealth. All the OG fans know back from like one of my first episodes that you was the first person
Hmm.
to tell me about anything stock related. Back in
Hmm.
Robinhood, I took you for granted honestly, because when you had initially told me, I got the free stock that you get from signing up and putting like $20 in or whatever the
Yeah,
promo
yeah.
was at that time, and then I never did anything else with it. I started going down. It was worth like $3. I started going down to like $2, and I sold it,
Hmm.
lost some money. Well, it wasn't my money, but I lost whatever.
Yeah.
Deleted the app and never looked at it ever again. So
Deleted
it's like,
that.
yeah,
Do you
deleted the
still
app.
have it now, or you
I
don't
mean,
have
yeah,
it anymore?
yeah, now because I'm
Oh, okay,
like
okay.
financially savvy now, but
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you
definitely.
can't, you came way too soon in my life. When the time when you was presenting the information mentally, I wasn't prepared to receive it. So it's like
Yeah, no.
you was
I
definitely the
mean,
first person. So like, tell us a little bit about your walk to wealth. You know how you got interested in looking at money. What made you start thinking about money? What made you start thinking about investing so early on?
yeah, man. So I mean, I was in college, man. That college life is where, you're just down to the wire trying to figure out how can I make an extra dollar because college kids, don't really
It
have
get
that much
rough.
money.
It get
Yeah, it
rough.
gets rough. It gets rough. So, during that time, it was a whole bunch of like Forex stuff going on. I don't know if anybody knows what that is. It's like virtual
For
currency.
yeah,
It's currency
foreign
trading or
exchange
whatever.
currency.
Yeah. Hmm. And yeah, so that was going on, and I was just looking at it like, I don't really know if I want to do that, but it sounds cool, like trading. So then
Yeah,
I was searching around, whatever, and I came across Robinhood,
yeah,
and just immediately got on it. I downloaded it, hooked up an account, and then I just put in like $20. College kid, I didn't have nothing.
yeah.
Just put in like $20, see what happened. Didn't know really much about it, like no knowledge on it. And yeah, I just started looking up videos, looking on YouTube on what's the best stocks to, invest in and things like that.
Mhm.
And then it just went from there. And I
Yeah.
tried to put you on, and it's just because you when you invite like three people or whatever, you get like a free stock and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I was doing that. That's what I was doing in the beginning, but to make a little
On the
but
stocks.
but yeah, but that's what I was doing.
Yeah. So, A lot of people also don't know. We also went to the same middle school and high school for the most part. Elementary school, I mean,
Hmm.
we're same city,
Yeah,
so it's like it's all the same education for the most part.
yeah,
But like in
yeah.
terms of middle school or high school, was there any part because throughout there that you was like that you knew you had like an entrepreneur in you? Because for me, I never had that entrepreneur in me until I started reading and like my whole mindset shifted. But like on your end, like was there any classes that not sparked your interest when you was in college? Like, is there anything? I mean, and not in college, like in high school. Um,
Well, like I said when I was introducing myself, I work for my grandfather. He owns a moving company, so I would, try to pick up some things from him because I wanted, like back then, I wanted to like take over his business one day, but
yeah,
that's way over my head. Now I do not want to do that anymore. But yeah, so like when I was, middle school, that's what I wanted. I was like, yeah, this is cool. I want to, own a business one day and, do what he does or whatever. But that was that. And then I got into like shoes in middle school. I used to like shoes a lot. Used to
yeah,
buy shoes, and me and my boys would go to this convention,
yeah.
and we
Berto,
would, yeah,
dudes
Berto, yeah,
used to
shout
come
out.
up.
Shout out Berto, but we would go to the convention at the BGC Boys and Girls Club, and we would just buy and sell shoes, trade shoes, stuff like that, and it was fun, because you like shoes and you're making money off of them and
Yeah.
getting more and stuff like that. So it's like it was an experience. It was a learning experience. Learn how things work in that nature. But yeah,
Mm. But like
stuff like
selling, trading is trading regardless of what the tool that you're using to barter, right? Whether it's
mm-hmm.
stocks or whether it's sneakers for the
Yeah.
most part. Like I know I couldn't in middle school. I didn't have no shoes. I had I had like three kicks. I
Yeah.
had like three kicks.
Nah.
But we ended up growing up. For me, back in high school, it was personal finance. I forget who my teacher was.
Mm-hmm.
I remember her face. That and
In high school.
yeah, that kind of
Mm.
started because like they did like
Was
a
it
project.
Miss Sansone?
Maybe it was in like
Mm.
the 100s, and it was
Mm.
so,
Mm.
and so it was like
Okay,
a
okay.
computer lab.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember like she had this project where it's like you kind of had to like pay your bills and stuff like that, and you had to check in and make sure everything was happening in a timely manner. So it kind of
Mm,
got you
okay.
like started about thinking about like managing your money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Tamalini's class, which was our entrepreneurship
Yeah.
class that we took,
Yeah, that
and
was tough.
honestly, I don't remember anything at all from that entrepreneurship class except for the fact that we watched Shark Tank. That's the only thing I remember, honestly. But like you
Yeah.
got to see like people give their elevator pitches and people come up with, like the
Yeah.
like
Mm-hmm.
creative ideas and then pitch that to like top investors and see who will get how they present an offer, what they're looking for, how they ask for certain things,
Mm-hmm.
equity. I didn't know what none of that stuff mean, but it was fun to watch. And
Yeah.
so like for you, your spark really happened during when everyone was on that that forex wave. Did
Yeah.
you ever get into forex at all? Did you ever want to try that?
Eventually I did try to join Forex, but I just didn't like how, the system was run. And
Yeah,
I was actually talking to someone like just the other day. I was talking to him about how, how Forex is run and all these type of things. It's like, to me personally, and I don't want to offend anyone who's in Forex or
yeah.
whatever, but
But you
to
can
me
speak your
it's
mind.
like,
Speak your mind.
yeah, to me it's like I seen it as back then. I seen it as like a pyramid scheme. Like people
Yeah,
were just rushing you to join, trying to get you in so they could, it because it helps them like in their rankings or whatever.
yeah,
So that's how I saw it, and that's why I didn't really want to join. Like I wanted to join to like actually learn the material and like
yeah,
learn like trading, but it seemed like that's what they were doing. And
yeah.
like the people that would recruit you, they wouldn't even be able to like teach you the material, and they would just send you to someone else, and like you're just on your own once you're in. That's how it was for me. So
Yeah,
that's why I didn't really, it
you
didn't
get
really go
into
too well
it.
for me.
Yeah, for me,
Yeah.
I had a kind of similar experience. Like for me, I'm very skeptical.
Mm-hmm.
And not for negative sake, but like for the most part, you can get rich doing anything. So for me,
Yeah.
it's like when you're presenting an idea to me, it's like, all right, who is it not for? How will
Mm-hmm.
it not work? Like who wouldn't be a good fit for this? I want to know that all again. What's the cons? What's the downside to all this?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's mostly upside to everything. They could sell you on the upside for day, but what's the downside? I want to know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting myself into. And like for me, like My boy Isan, he got into it. That was like the first person that was like really close to me. Either him or Jakai.
Hmm.
That was like one
Yeah, I
of the first
know
people
Chikai
like,
was doing it too.
yeah, like
Hmm.
that was close to me that was in it.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
so it's like, so the idea kind of intrigued me because it definitely has that, that unlimited income potential where you can make as much money as you can if the better you get at it. But it's like
Hmm.
for me, the way I see it, it's like the way they talk to people, and like although I wasn't financially literate at that time, I was always wise. So it's like
Hmm.
I could see when people are taking advantage of fools. So
Right. Right.
I peeped that kind of to what you were saying is like people were
Hmm.
rushing to get in, and I'm a big believer the blind can't lead the blind. Don't take advice from anyone that hasn't been to where you want to be or it's not currently there, right?
That's
A lot of
true.
these people weren't there. They're trying to recruit people, not to speak down on forex because it is a platform that could that has
Yeah, it
created
could
a lot of
definitely
opportunity
elevate
for
you.
people.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
then I actually got into it. Not a lot of people know about from this time of this recording, probably like 2 months ago. Because
Hmm.
I met a guy, me and him had a great conversation. We met through the restaurant Sign of the Whale, and
Hmm.
we had a conversation with him. Dope guy. His name is Connor. I'm actually supposed to be getting him on the podcast, but I was like, let me give this forex a shot because I tried it back then. That's when all the hype was, and I'm not someone who follows the hype. So
Yeah.
like now that there's no hype behind it, let me test it out. And then I kind of put it on the back burner because I'm already in real estate, and trading was never my idea. That's why I only trade in index funds because like I
Hmm.
never liked the idea of like researching stuff you know, to invest in when it comes
Right.
to like stocks and things like that. And foreign exchange currencies is similar to stocks,
Hmm. Yeah.
um, and you
Definitely.
got to read the graphs and stuff like that. And it's also something that isn't tangible.
Hmm.
And so, for me, I kind of put it. I signed up. Watched some classes. I never even got through the introduction. I never gave it a fair shot, but I paid my money, then I paid for
Yeah.
another month, and then month two, I heard something that was like really eye opening from Grant Cardone. He was like, so many people try to focus on a second stream of income outside of their business, and that
Hmm.
loses focus. Focus on a second stream of income within your business. So I was like, yeah, that's right. I never really liked for like trading, the idea of trading to begin with. So it's
Hmm.
like I did that, and then now I'm trying to work on right now like teaching social media to realtors,
Hmm.
and not to like teach them how to sell houses using social media, but to just teach them how to use social media in general. Cause like there's a lot
Yeah.
of realtors a lot older than
That
me
don't know.
that don't know how to use social media
Hmm.
just for social media's sake.
Hmm.
So I was like, I could probably. Well, actually, I wasn't thinking about monetizing that after my second seminar, well, it was during my second seminar, they started telling me that I should charge for them. So I was like, you know, if they're gonna tell me to charge them, and they're the ones in my seminar, and my
Right.
seminar is for them, what I'm gonna do? Not
Why
listen to
not?
that? Yeah. And so
For real.
it was never the intention, but it was
Hmm.
like if the opportunity's in front of me, who am I to deny God's blessing? You know.
Right. Right.
So I was just like that. So it's like, all right, but like, so the forex thing didn't work out.
Hmm.
And then you started going with trading. So talk a little bit about that. What you're doing now with trading? Are you still doing it? How did you start learning? You said YouTube videos. Are there any like
Hmm.
books or anything that were like really impactful? How do you really, aside from like YouTube, which is a little general, like how did you start really learning about investing?
So there's this guy that I watch a lot, and correct me if I'm wrong on his name. His name is Andre Chicks. Is that
Mm-hmm.
correct? Yeah, I watched
Jeeks.
him a lot. I watched him a lot throughout my journey of figuring out what stocks to buy and things like that.
Yeah.
So he's helped me a lot, and I would really just analyze what he does and try to mimic it to like try to put it in what I do, and then after a while, I started to see progress on what was
Mm.
going on, and I was like, okay, I like this. Like I could actually do this, and then that's where it went from there. I just kept doing it, kept watching him, explored more, and just kept going from there.
Are there any books that you read when you were starting off, or strictly off a YouTube video that you were
Just,
mainly going off on?
yeah, when I first started, just strictly YouTube videos, podcasting like that. Yeah, just
Yeah.
strictly YouTube.
Whose podcast were you listening to? Because I know mine wasn't
Uh,
out at that time.
Oh yeah, nah. I mean, I wish, but yeah. So there's this podcast called Market Mondays. They talk about the stock market a lot, and I would just watch them, just learn from them, jot down notes, things like that, and just just get into it. And I eventually got into dividend investing. That's what I do now.
Yeah.
Like majority of my portfolio is dividend stocks, and that's
Okay.
what I'm starting to lean on more because I feel more comfortable with doing that type of trade stock
Yeah,
investing.
that's what I did too for the most part. So like for me,
Hmm.
Andre Jick was one of my main people that I listened to. It was
Hmm.
between him, Graham Stephan. I love Graham
Hmm.
Stephan just because like he's also a real estate guy over in Cali. So
Hmm.
he talks about investing. He does a lot of things. He's very well rounded. And then so I kind of used that and the book called "I Will Teach You to Be Rich" by Ramit Sethi. I
Shoot.
endorse that book 100%, bro. That book is solid. That book really sparked my journey. It was one of the most practical books, one of the most informative
on
books
on
on personal finance.
okay.
Just personal
Hmm.
finance. That's how I got started in looking into index funds. That's how I got started.
Hmm.
That's how I changed my bank accounts. That's how because now I used to bank with Bank of America. Now I bank with Schwab, and Ally Bank for my checkings and my savings. And I got a second checkings with Chase just to deposit cash because I still work at a restaurant. But
Right.
Schwab, I being young and saying that you bank with Schwab is the biggest flex ever, or one of the biggest flex ever. That's I don't care what anyone says.
Hmm.
When people are talking about banks, it's like
No,
I bank with Schwab. Like it
that's
just sounds
online banking, correct?
yeah online. Cause like for
Okay.
me,
Yeah. Okay. Hmm.
the more separate your bank accounts are, the harder it is to transfer money, and the harder it is to
That's
transfer
true.
money, the less likely you are to make stupid financial decisions and spending
That's a tip right
decisions.
there. That's
Right,
a tip right there, people. Write it
so
down.
so, so it's like you feel me. So I wanted to make it harder on myself to be able to transfer money between accounts so that I can be
Right.
more financially disciplined.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so a good chunk of my portfolio right now is in a Schwab high dividend yield ETF. It's called
Okay.
SCHD. Um,
Yes, I know what that is.
yeah, and so for anyone that doesn't know what an ETF is, an ETF is I forget what it stands for, but it's like an index funds. But
Hmm.
instead of like normally index funds, you can either buy it at the beginning of the day or at the end of the day. With ETFs, you can buy them at any point throughout the day, kind of similar to like it was a stock. That's the only
Okay.
difference. I'm pretty sure it's just like an index fund, but it moves like a stock.
Right.
Or at least it behaves like a stock when it comes to buying and selling. And that has like a good chunk of my portfolio. And then I got a couple other like blue chip companies. I got Walmart, Nike, Amazon, um, Walmart, Nike, Amazon, Chase, Amex, and Walmart, and that's my dividend portfolio.
Hmm.
And then I got another like just like index fund portfolio with Fidelity, and
Hmm.
so I got Fizz Rock, which is a total market index fund,
Right.
with zero expense ratio. So I'm not paying any fees on it. And for those who don't know, an expense ratio is like how much you pay to own index fund. It's usually a very small percentage,
Hmm.
depending on who you're going with. But that one has zero. So like all your gains are yours. Then I got Fizzlix, which is like an international index fund with Fidelity. FSRNX is like a real estate investment trust,
Hmm.
which is like an index fund for like real estate investments.
Right.
And
And
then
you get that monthly?
I haven't looked at it in a while.
Okay.
Those don't give me dividends.
Yeah.
No, no, I
Okay.
think
Okay.
FSRNX give me dividends, but it's small. And then
Hmm.
like, but that's like just an index fund portfolio.
Hmm.
Um, and so that's like the other giant majority of my portfolio. The dividend one, I'm making now about I get paid quarterly dividends. I'm making
Okay.
close to like now. I haven't really checked in a while, but I'm making close to like 150 per quarter off of dividends,
Wow.
which is like a little decent amount of money.
That's decent. That's
Yeah.
good, actually. More the better than decent.
Yeah, so it's like
I mean, depending on what you're like, the overall the your portfolio
yeah, I think
amount is.
yeah, for me, I think I forget how much I get paid per dividend. I think it's like right averaging right about like 3% or something like that. I forget how much it is. I have to
Mhm.
double check because I haven't checked in
That's
so
good.
long. But like for you, what you invested in?
That's probably way easier than what I'm doing. honestly. I
How many
mean,
how many positions do you have in total?
I think I have like 20 something, like 20, around 20 something. Yeah.
20 some positions. And how often
Yeah.
do you rebalance?
I have it automatically set where I have like probably I think seven stocks is getting money put into it like every day.
Yeah. But like for the
Mm-hmm.
most part, like let's say one stock grows faster than the other. When things like, do
Mm-hmm.
you balance your stocks based on percentages? Like this stock is supposed to have X percentage of the total portfolio, or is like
Nah,
you kind of eyeball it?
I just eyeball it, put it in. I just put it in wherever I want to put it at,
Mm.
kind
And
of
so
thing.
have you been active with that currently? Because I know the market right now is kind of like been going
Yeah,
downhill in the
yeah,
investment game. So how's that been
yeah,
looking on your end?
yeah. But you know you can't let that affect you. You obviously got to do some research, and that's why I've been leaning more towards dividend stocks because if you do those blue chip stocks that you were talking about, those are like getting hit way harder in this market, today's market. So
Yeah,
that's why I've been leaning towards more dividend stocks, and just letting that, grow over time.
yeah.
But yeah.
And have you got, gained any new positions? Like, what's your process for when you want to invest in a new stock? So, like, for someone that wants to get into dividend investing, what's your process look like when you're about to evaluate a company? How do you evaluate a company? How do you know what to invest in, where to choose?
Okay, so when you are getting into dividend investing, you want to look for a stock, and then Yahoo Finance is your best friend at this point because you want to go to Yahoo Finance, look up the stock that you want to invest in,
Mm.
and you put it in Yahoo Finance. You look at their financial statement,
Yeah.
and you look at their dividend yield, their market cap to see if it's in the right numbers,
Yeah, before
and
you
you
keep
just
on going, just like for like
mhm.
you're gonna have to explain it in layman's terms. So like, what's a dividend yield for anyone that may not know or like that's listening and hasn't invested? What does that mean?
So the dividend yield is the ratio in which correct me if I'm wrong, it's the ratio in which the I forgot, hold on.
It's pretty much like when you how much a dividend you're gonna be getting per stock that you own, pretty much per share.
Yeah, yeah,
About
yeah,
it.
yeah. Okay.
Um,
Hmm.
and then for market cap, what does that mean?
So your market cap is, I believe it's how much people is invested in the company or something like that.
Oh, okay. Okay, and
I'm
then
not
so what
sure.
else? What else do you look at? So you're on Yahoo Finance.
Hmm.
You're looking at Tesla right now. You see the dividend
Hmm.
yield, which I don't think Tesla gives back dividends. I'm not sure.
I don't think they do.
Yeah, and then you see the market cap. What else are you looking at?
You're looking at their balance sheet to see if their years are going up in the numbers instead of in the
Yeah,
negative direction.
yeah,
So if their first year was, if their net income was higher than their year and the following year, the next year, I mean,
yeah.
then that's a healthy company. So they're more so a good company to invest in. So
Okay,
that's what I look at, things like that.
okay. Now let's pivot a little bit. Now, so I know you're someone else. You're my age, or a little bit older, but
Hmm.
like we grew up together. How's it like been like socially when it comes to like, you know, getting started on this personal finance journey and investing in not only in yourself and but like in companies, investing in learning and investing in
Hmm.
your time into like YouTube and learning all this stuff. How's that been?
Man, it's a challenge, because at first, you want better, but it's hard because you have to change in order
Yeah,
to get better at whatever it is that you want in life. You have to change, and that's the hard part about it because when you're, going through the motions, you're comfortable at where you're at, and it's hard to change because you are comfortable where you're at. So it's just
yeah,
like you got to just break that comfort zone and just strive for what you actually want, and you got to just stay consistent with it. So for me, I was just I know that I really, everybody wants to be successful, but me, I like money. I like to manage money. That's what
Yeah.
I really like to do. So I just uh
So, what do you think was different about you than most other people that never end up getting started on this path? Because for the most part, generally speaking, the entire population, they want to be. Everyone wants to be successful. We all do, right? We all want to
mhm,
succeed. No one really wants to like wakes up in the morning like, hey, I want to be the best loser on possible. And even if you do want to
mhm,
be the best loser, that's still achieving the best in some areas. So it's like no
yeah.
one just strives for to be bad. So it's like, what do you think the was the differentiating factor in you that made you actually start, making some progress in the right direction? Because a lot of people our age have that urge. They'll hear that gut feeling and they kind of ignore it sometimes.
Mhm. So I think it is that I look at my mom in a lot of situations. Like she's been like a person that I always looked up to, and she's always been that person that's always able to be financially stable and know how to manage her money and figure out things when times are rough. So I just always look at her and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's something like I would want to, be like for myself, to
Yeah,
have that ability to just be able to manage your money properly and not, not sink.
yeah, definitely. And how's it been, as I said, like socially? Like,
Mhm.
did you have to make any sacrifices in terms of like, in your social life in order to get focus and find out why? Because most people our age don't know what on earth they want to do. So it's like, was there any sacrifices you had to make in any area?
Yeah, so socially I feel like, I just started to pull away from a lot of, friends and things like that. You really like it's really a grind. Like when you want something better for yourself, you start to lose a lot more things that you've been like, around when you were
Yeah,
in that stage of, whatever. But when you're trying to evolve and change, things start to pull away from you, like friends, relationships, whatever it may be. But yeah, things like that, it could just pull away from you, and you just gotta stay focused and be true to what you want. And
and what was that focus point that pulled you through that time period? Because it can get very tired, tiring. It can get very lonely. You can feel very isolated, like an outcast. What was
mhm.
that focus point that you were looking for, or striving for, that kind of pulled you through that time period, or that's pulling you through right now if you're still in that period?
So you just, for me, I think is like you just set goals. You just
Mm.
set a broad goal, set a big goal, and then set little goals in within that goal. So once you start achieving the many goals that you set, it's like like it just regenerates,
Yeah,
that
it fills you
urge
up.
to keep going. Yeah, it just keeps you going. So that I think that's what it is. You just set goals and just keep achieving your goals and you'll have that urge to keep going.
Yeah, definitely. There's a saying, a quote. I forget where I heard it from. It was, I think, on a podcast or either a YouTube video, and it was
Mhm.
like, you should set goals so big that you'll never accomplish it in your life. Like you should be thinking abundantly, like extremely abundant. Like think so big, people will look at you and turn. Like if people are not
Yeah.
looking at you sideways, your goals aren't big enough,
Hmm.
right? And then
Yeah.
people say, "Oh, but what if I don't want to, succeed, or what if I don't want to make this much, or what if I don't want to do X, Y, Z?" And it's like, shut up, like, like,
Nah,
in
for
all
real.
in all actuality, because like, bro, who are you to say that you could just stop mid journey? Like
Yeah, that's true.
we
And
have until our final breath on this planet, right? Whenever
yeah,
that
that's
is.
true.
So it's like, if you
And
stop anytime short of that, my fault. Hold on. If you stop
mhm,
anytime short of that, it's like you're just missing out on potential. You never actually realize. It's not like you can get another chance. It's not like you gonna pass away and be like, oh, like this is what I would have been if like I maxed out the stats. It's like
mhm.
you don't ever realize until you do it. So it's like until that last breath, just try to max
Yeah,
everything out.
you shouldn't stop. Just keep going. And I was gonna say, my uncle told me that someone told him this quote, and I was like, that is the worst quote I've ever heard in my life.
A bad
He was
quote,
like
bad quote.
a bad quote. He was like, if something is too hard for you, then it's not meant to be. I was like, that is the worst quote I've ever heard in my life. Like if like success isn't easy at all. So it's
Yeah.
like that's like the complete opposite of success. So it's like if you quit, you're just short selling yourself because it's like nothing in life is easy. If you really want, you
Yeah.
got to keep going. And failure is the first thing that you're gonna like,
Encounter.
yeah, encounter before you get to your like success. So it's like
Yeah.
that quote was just terrible. And I was like, get that out of your head immediately. That's
Wait,
terrible.
did your uncle just say that being funny, or like your uncle said that
No,
like with
he was
conviction?
saying like he was really for that quote. I was like,
Yeah.
that's not
That's a terrible
that's not
quote.
the quote.
That
Yeah,
that
it's
quote sparked
terrible.
several ideas for me. Like, one of the quote is like, everyone says that winners never quit, and that's a quote that I disagree with, and I'll tell you
Mm-hmm,
why. Because most people will look at me and like, what do you mean winners never quit? I feel like winners are bigger quitters than quitters.
mm-hmm,
Winners just know what to quit at and when to quit,
right.
right? Because if you're
Mm-hmm,
gonna be an actual winner in any particular aspect, let's talk about LeBron, right?
mm-hmm,
Right, LeBron, he's the greatest player of all time, no discussion, right?
mm-hmm,
But he had to quit football. He had to quit potentially playing baseball. He had to quit potentially, starting a business. He had to quit
mm-hmm,
potentially, like he had to quit a lot in order to succeed at the level that he was succeeding at since the age that he started. Like he was a high school icon. Like he's
mm-hmm,
known nationally since high school. The pressure's been on. He's never had a break. So it's like he had to quit a lot of different things. He probably is multi-talented. He probably could play an instrument or do a little dance move or something like that. He probably got talents that no one knows about. But it's like
right.
he had to quit,
He quit those all.
Yeah, and so it's like, but the one thing that he wanted to win at, he didn't quit at, and that's what separates a lot of people. Quitters quit for quitting's sake. Winners
Right.
quit things so they can focus on what they want to win in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they can give it their all. Uh,
And so did you do you have like a similar like story in your life where you know that you had to quit a certain spot to elevate in another?
yeah, I quit a lot, bro. Like before I got on
Mm-hmm.
this journey, um, once I started reading,
Mm-hmm.
um, that's when I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I don't know what I think.
Great book, by the way. Great book.
Yes sir, yes. I don't got the book in front of me, but I always
Great
keep a
book.
book nearby, bro. I always keep a book nearby. I gotta have a book, man.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Gotta have a
sir.
book. But I gotta read some of these books because like I'm still
Mm-hmm.
not caught up. But hey, now we'll get to that, right? But like for me, it was like once I started reading, and then I realized that I could teach myself, and then I started realizing like a lot of these professors don't even know how to use a Zoom class. What am I wasting my time here for? I went to college for two
Mm-hmm.
reasons, right? To
Mm-hmm.
learn how to live my own and to learn how to network. Those are the only two
Mm-hmm.
reasons, right? So I'm a winner. I know what I want to succeed in, right? I want to succeed
Mm-hmm.
in real estate. But boom, college. I was in college and there was like a conflict of interest. So boom, first thing I quit was college. I
Right.
was out of there,
Okay.
and it's not like I quit college because it was hard. No, college was
Mm-hmm.
easy. I had a 3.78. I was in honor society. It was light. I quit college
Mm-hmm.
because like I knew what I wanted to focus in, and the more time I spent in college, the less time I'll be spending in what I actually wanted to win in. Quit that.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Then like the whole like first like 9 months of 2021, like once that new year came around, deleted all my social media apps. Only had Snapchat, and I was only in the group chat that we were in, and that was like I had like 10 people on that Snapchat. I didn't add anybody.
Yeah,
Um,
I remember
and
that.
and now
You
even
made
on
that.
top of that, yeah, and on top of that, I didn't even use Snapchat like that. I kind of did here and there, but like I really wasn't on it. And so, for like the first 9, 10 months before I got my license, you know, I for the most part I never even looked at social media because I didn't have
Mm-hmm.
it. I deleted all of it off my phone. And so I made a sacrifice there, right there. I was like, I'm not gonna get back on social media until I get my real estate license. No ifs, ands, or
Mm-hmm.
buts. So I deleted all that
Okay.
stuff, right? There's also another point in time where there's this thing called nofap or whatever, or like semen retention, and that's
Mm-hmm.
pretty much because like the way pornography it screws with your brain. It's like it messes with your dopaminergic system and it desensitizes you to a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when you know release your semen, that's like life energy that's getting released and sucked out of you, right,
Mm.
for its pleasures. And so your brain can't tell the difference between reality and what's what you
Yeah.
know and what's not. And
Right.
that's why affirmations and things like that are so powerful, right? Because your
Right.
brain can't tell the difference.
Can't
And
tell. Yeah.
so when you're watching all this pornography, your brain can't tell the difference between if really have all these women's,
Mm-hmm.
or is it just, something in your head. Your brain can't distinguish it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I distinguish it. So boom, I let go of that, and there was I went like on a 10 month thing where I just didn't do any of that at all. Clear my
Mm-hmm.
mind.
Mm-hmm.
What else? I stopped talking. I felt lonely for a certain point in time. There was one point in time when I was studying for my license. I was
Yeah.
working two jobs, working 70 hours, and not to knock anyone else, but it's like people get, complain about 35-hour per week, and it's like, there's no reason why you should be complaining, especially if you're young and able bodied. You working 35 hours a week. That's a joke, bro. Like you
Yeah.
and you got to get up and get after it if you want to be
You got
anything.
it.
Like, so I'm over there pushing 70 hours on top of working, studying for my exam, and so it's like, there's a lot of things I couldn't, I really didn't get time to, to spend with, Ya that summer at all. I didn't get to hang out with Ya. When Matt
Yeah.
got locked, I only got to see him
Yeah.
one time that summer, so it's like,
Matt.
I didn't even get to see him, and um, it was like a lot of things that I had to give up in order to like really focus, um,
And
and
so and
mhm.
so you mentioned how you were with the real estate thing. So my question was, did you have the idea of wanting to be a real estate agent like before you attended college, or this
Nah,
happened
but
just abruptly?
yeah, it was all a
Just a
complete, like,
rush?
yeah,
Uh-huh.
180. Once I started reading, and then it was December 2021. So after I read Rich Dad Poor Dad,
Uh-huh.
um, there was this one thing I seen. I think it was like an ad or something on IG. It was like, get into real
Yeah.
estate, no money down, no credit needed, no license, and it was about
Mhm.
wholesaling, right? So I took the class. It was like $500. I had some money saved up. Um,
Oh, you did it
took
off
the
the ad?
Yeah, I don't think I did it after that. I think I looked more into it, and then I
Oh,
signed up.
okay.
And
Uh-huh.
then, right, so boom, I learned about it, learned about wholesaling a little bit. Got my LLC filed, got my EIN, my logo, my domain
Uh-huh.
name. I was ready to get it popping. And then I started calling up attorneys. And then there was like four attorneys that I spoke with, and they were like, yeah, 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 we could do it. They didn't know what they were talking about. They were just saying, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then
Uh-huh.
there's one guy that knew what he was talking about, and it was like, "Oh no, you can't do it." Blah 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 blah. Although you can, legally wholesale in the entire state of Connecticut. I'm pretty
Uh-huh.
sure at the time of this recording, you could wholesale anywhere
Now,
in Connecticut.
now I'm not sure if you mentioned it before in previous podcasts, but what is like, can you tell me what wholesaling is?
Yeah, so you heard it here. Marcus doesn't listen to my podcast.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
but
Let's
but yeah. All right. So this is what wholesaling is for the most part. You see a property. It's usually a distressed property, meaning the property um is in either in bad condition or the sellers are in bad, in a bad situation, whether that is a divorce or health or
Mhm.
someone passed away.
Mhm.
Um, Long story short, they no longer want the property.
Okay.
Usually these sellers don't want to sell it traditionally on the MLS, or
Mhm.
it probably wouldn't show well on the MLS. So
Mhm.
they don't know. So for whatever reason, they decide not to go on MLS. And so you find this house. Let's say you got a house. It's beat up, right? You don't live in it. You live in another state, whatever. This is just a
Mhm.
random example. I find a house. I come to you. I say, hey, Marcus, um, I could get a buyer for you for 100. You're like, okay. So then we sign a contract. Now I have equitable interest in that
Mhm.
property. And then I assign that contract to someone who wants to buy it. Let's say Rico wants to buy the home. He's an investor.
Mhm.
I sell the contract to buy this equitable interest to buy it for 110,000, and then
Mhm.
I keep the $10,000 difference. Rico sells and buys the house. You get the money. Everyone's happy. Um,
Okay.
so that's what wholesaling is. And for anyone that didn't check, Marcus, episode
Mhm.
with my interview with Dave DeVito. He's been wholesaling 8 years in CT, big time investor. I think it's episode 9 and 10, I believe. We
I
went a
go
little bit
check that
more.
out.
Yeah, we went a little bit more into that. It can be done. It is a little hard, but like from wholesaling, after I got denied and by the attorney, At that point in time, he was the professional, so I was like, okay, I guess this isn't meant to be. And then I was discouraged for a month, and then it wasn't until February I went out to eat with Zaire. Me and him was catching up, and he had bumped into James. So me and Zaire are eating. We're talking at Sign, and he went to go to James. I didn't know James was there, and they were
Mm-hmm.
talking. So I'm sitting at the table. Zaire didn't come back. I'm like, what's going on? And so I ended
Right.
up seeing him by the bar. Went to go talk, bump into the conversation, and I guess they were talking about real estate, and they were gonna hop on a Zoom call with Zai, and then just because I happened to bump into the conversation, like John, like you should hop on a Zoom call as well. I heard like you trying to get into real estate, right? And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah. And then from there, a good friend of mine, Adam, I haven't spoken to him in a while, but Adam, he kind of agreed to be like my mentor for a little bit, and
Mm-hmm.
he had kind of helped guide me throughout the process of me from just starting up
Mm-hmm.
the class to like pretty much me getting my license. He kind of helped out throughout that entire process. He also helped write my bio. Um,
For IG.
no, for my bio for my professional bio for like when my real estate business.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's kind of how I got into like real estate as an agent. Adam kind of sparked that interest. But that was just for me to get my license. Then once I worked at K Jewelers, that was technically that was technically a sales job. And
Right.
so I helped a couple people buy engagement rings, and they were like, extremely happy. So I'm just like, imagine I help somebody find a house, how happy
Mm-hmm.
they would be. So I was like, okay, now I'm already interested in real estate. I'm already gonna get my license. I might as well become an agent as well, and get that popping, so that
Right.
I can then also then get some capital to then start the investing, which is what I really want to do, in which is what really gets me going. So that
Investing
yeah, the real estate investing
in.
side.
Okay.
So now, like, I don't want to wholesale anymore. I'm still gonna learn it a little bit, just because I feel like it'll be a good leveraging point, because most realtors don't even know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm gonna learn it a little bit, but now I'm trying to get my first duplex. Goal is by the
Mm.
end of the year. Little bit behind, but we still got 5.5 months. More like 4 months, cause
Okay.
so we got
Duplex.
yeah, I gotta get my foot on the gas. The goal is like I already envision everything. I envision my caption. I envision the photo I'm gonna take, the fit I'm gonna wear. I envision that all of that. I already got it pictured out in my head, and then I'm gonna just pop out
Right.
and stunt
So
like
it's gonna
20
happen.
21 with a duplex. That's crazy, bro. Especially from out here, because I don't know no one else really doing it. So that's really what I'm trying to start doing. Start building that rental property portfolio. Um,
Sure.
and then so for you, where do you see your investing going?
So me, I have a mini goal for the year,
Yeah.
and actually, yeah, mini goal for the year, and I'm just trying to obtain that goal. And I'm a little behind because I have
Yeah.
like a I put in my notes like where I should be at every month
Yeah.
as far as like the actual portfolio dollar amount. And I'm a little behind right now, but that's fine. I still feel like I could obtain my mini goal for the year. So
Yeah.
that's just what I did. I just calculated, where I want to be at for the year, and I divided it by 12 to get each month where I should be at.
Yeah.
So I just set it up like that. I feel like I said before, just set that overall goal and then mini goals within. And then once you accomplish, the steps,
It's
you're gonna
checkpoints. You got the
yeah, your
checkpoints
yeah, your checkpoints. You get your checkpoints. You're gonna feel better, and that's gonna fuel
to keep
you
it going.
fuel you to keep
To keep
going.
on
Yeah,
going. Yeah. If
yeah.
it,
So that's
that's
what
what
it's
I
all
did
about.
when I started investing money. When I was working 70 hours, I lived with my grandparents. So and at that time
Hmm.
I didn't have my car, so
Ain't nothing wrong with it.
it was just me and my cat.
Ain't
That's the
nothing wrong
only
with
bills I'm paying.
it.
So I feel like for our age, I was touching a decent amount of money.
For sure.
Working 70 hours, especially at a restaurant, uh, at Harbor Point. And
Hmm.
so for me, a lot of that money I did not need, and I was getting paid every week at the
Hmm.
restaurant plus tips.
Hmm.
And I was getting paid bi-weekly at K Jewelers, and
Oh
so
yeah.
I was making a pretty good
Oh
amount of
yeah. You
money.
was grinding.
And yeah, for the most part, all that money got invested. So I had a goal So this is 2021. I had a goal to hit by December 31st. And
Mm-hmm.
then I forgot who asked me, but there was like, I think it was Rico. Rico was like, John, if you can get it by your birthday, you're the GOAT. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
dang, by my birthday? And this is like March or April, so I'm way behind. Like, isn't it was a pretty big goal for me. So
Yeah, that's
then
what I'm
I
saying.
just broke down the numbers. I was like, okay, we have this many days in
That's what I'm
left
saying.
until
When you
April.
do that,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then he was like, okay. Then I started getting the ball rolling. And he was like, John, if you can get the goal by July, nah, you're the GOAT. I was like, dang, July? That's crazy. I think it was like July 14th or 15th. And
Mm-hmm.
then, but I did the same thing, broke down the numbers, seeing how much I had to invest every day. And then
Yes.
I ended up hitting the goal that I initially planned for the 31st of December. It was like July 27th, I think, or 26th.
See?
So,
Mm-hmm.
like, in half the time.
But see,
Um,
just like that, like stuff like that just goes back to what I was saying. You just set that goal and, set your mini goals within and just keep going from there.
yeah,
Like
exactly. You gotta stay
once you,
focused.
because see how you broke down, like you were like, oh dang, my goal is like crazy. I don't think I can make it. But once you like broke it down to what you really need to do,
Yeah,
like day by day or whatever, month by month or whatever you were doing. Like once you see that amount, you reach that amount, and you're like, okay, I could do this for another month. Okay,
yeah.
I could do this for another month. Let me double it up. Let me, I'm doing good. Let me double it up this month. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
once you keep doing that, it's like a
Snowball
cake.
starts rolling
Yeah, it's like
faster.
mm-hmm.
All right,
It's
so
like a
Marcus,
walk in the park.
I just start wrapping up a little bit. So, what do you got
Mm-hmm.
going on currently? Where can the people find you? Where do you want people to reach out to you? What you got going on right now?
All right, so you can find me on IG at E92 underscore Tyso. That's my car page. That's the page I'll really be on. I'm on that page a lot. I want to start, posting more on that page. I'm not really on my main too much, so I'm not really gonna shout that out. But yeah, E92 underscore Tyso. That's my IG. My YouTube is capital T the real Tyso TV, all caps on the first letters of the word, whatever.
Can break it down easier. So, the real Tyso TV, the first letter every
Mm-hmm.
word is capital.
Right.
Okay.
Capital T and the capital R in real, capital T and Tyso, Tyso, and then capital T and TV.
All right.
That's it. Mm-hmm.
Complicated, bro. It's too complicated.
Keep it simple. Keep it simple.
All right.
I try to keep it simple, but
All right, Mark. And then let's see. And before we wrap it up, what's one thing you want, anyone who's listening to the podcast to do? What's a call to action? What do you want them to do after listening to this podcast? If they made it here to the end, what do you want them to get out of this?
if there's something that you really want to do, go for it. I say go for it. Do not wait. That's the one thing that a lot of us do. We wait and we wait and we wait and we don't do it. So I would just say jump in there and just do it. That's the
Alrighty, you heard it
advice
from
that I
us
got
here.
for you guys today, man.
Just get after, just get after. No, time doesn't get, doesn't wait for nobody. No to your dreams. You gotta go out there and get it. Don't waste no
No, it
time.
doesn't.
So, Mark, before
Mm-hmm.
we wrap up, we got the final five questions, rapid fire, to ask
Okay.
you, catch you on your toes. So let's get it popping. First,
Oh
start
shoot.
off. What's your favorite pizza topping?
Uh I'll say sausage.
Okay, okay.
I say it. Mm-hmm.
Let's
Hey
see.
yo.
what's, your, what's your favorite? What's your favorite condiment?
Ah, mayo.
Okay, okay. Ha-
Mayo.
hamburgers or glizzies?
Gotta go with the glizzies,
Ah.
man. Nah, for real,
Ah,
I like cheeseburgers. Cheeseburgers all day. Cheeseburgers all day.
cheeseburger. Okay, that's honorable.
Mhm.
That's honorable. Um, if you can go anywhere, where would it be?
Anywhere in the world,
Anywhere.
or
If you just got dropped a check to one, round trip to wherever.
I would go. I know this sounds like real dry and bland, but I'll probably go to like Cali or somewhere.
Okay, that's what's up.
Hmm.
Cali got some
Yeah,
stuff. You don't have to travel to Dubai. You go to
yeah.
Cali.
I'll go
Last
to
question.
Cali. I'll
Last
go to
question.
Cali.
What would be your DJ name and why?
DJ Tyso. That's it.
DJ Ty
Simple as
where
that.
and for the people that don't know, what's a Tyso, bro? What
All right,
what
so
is
my
what
middle
is
name,
Tyso?
this is I don't know how like where this came from, but like, all right, so my middle name is Tyler. That's the Ty. And then on Xbox for a while, I had my gamer tag was ISO X spam. So I was like ISO and Tyler, and I put it together, Tyso, and that's how I got it. But it doesn't really have no meaning, but it sounds cool to me, and
Tyso.
that's what I went with.
That's all that matters, right? It sound good to
Mm-hmm.
you. That's how DJ
That's what
Tyso
that's
the building.
that's what it
Mr.
is,
Car,
man.
Mr. E92, Mr.
Yeah,
BMW
man.
flexing, red
Yeah,
interior.
man.
Follow the
Shit, shit,
page,
shit.
man. Marcus,
Follow the page for real.
it was great having you on, my boy.
Yes,
Definitely
sir.
had
It
a
was a
great
pleasure.
conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely know that the listeners will take a lot away from this conversation, hearing two young people just chop it up like good old times. But
Yes, sir, man.
alrighty, man. That's all for this episode. And anyone watching, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for tuning in. Just
Mm-hmm.
make sure
Yes, sir.
to leave a 5-star review if you loving the podcast. I got a very
Shout
special
out to
guest this
John,
time.
man. Yes, sir.
But
Shout out to John. Y'all make sure y'all keep watching, supporting, let my man grow. And yeah,
yes, sir.
we
All
out.
right, man.